Alright, so today we are taking a look at another Darkglass pedal. This is the Luminal Hybrid Compressor, and it's pretty cool. I've been playing around with it for a few minutes here. It is a bass compressor. Everyone talks about it being a bass compressor, but it doesn't specifically say on here that it is, so I'm actually kind of curious to maybe try this out on guitar as well. But it's pretty cool. I liked this one. Never used it before. Kind of simple controls, where I feel like it's actually very easy to dial in at the very least. So starting at the top left, we have a blend knob, we have time at the far right, and then on the bottom we have output and then compression, and then we have kind of like a gain reduction meter here. We've got this weird little tap button for ratio and then a mode selector as well. So all cool stuff that we'll get into. Also, it has a USB out, which I guess you can plug into an app that they have and do some further tweaking of some of the parameters there, which I'm not going to get into. I'm not going to mess it up for my friend or anything like that, or dig in that much right away. But yeah, that's kind of cool that they add that. So right away, let's start with the blend knob. I've seen people online even saying, dumb things about other compressors, like, oh, you got to have the blend all the way down, but that's dumb, because that's like the pedal being all the way off. You want the blend to be somewhere turned up, if not all the way up, to be able to get like a full compression sound. Time is going to be how fast the gain reduction happens or doesn't happen. Output is obvious, that's your kind of master level there, and then compression is how much you're getting. Ratio is going to I think it's usually 2 to 1, 4 to 1, a few ratios like that. And then over here with the modes, we have bus, symmetrical, and FET. So let's go ahead and get into some of the sounds. I'm using the same Darkglass demo preset that I built in my last video on the HX Stomp here. So I've got the Obsidian 7000 preamp, which is basically the Darkglass preamp that they have in here, going into, and then the pedal, and then I have the Ampeg SVT 4 Pro, and then kind of an 8x10 with a 1x15 cab simulation there. So without the pedal on. Sorry about the bleed through the microphone there. Kind of deal with it for a minute there. Let's start with everything just kind of straight up. Start at that point. And bus symmetry. So bus is based off of like the bus compressor on an SSL board. See, there's not much gain reduction going on there. Let's see, let's turn up the blend a little bit. Let's start doing some stuff here. So let's turn up the compression. And we see the gain reduction happening there. Let's turn up our output. There we go. That's good. So you see the gain reduction is not really affected so much by the output. I can have the output all the way down, and it's still responding to that. So that gain reduction really has more to do with the compression, which it's kind of a low compression right now, so it's not doing a ton. Let's see if I kick it up. Getting a little bit more now. Let's go to the next compression there. Even that low string, it's really holding it together there. Yeah, it's pretty cool. It's my high B and my low B. A couple octaves apart there and sound alright. Let's see, let's go on up to this top ratio there. So you see the gain reduction goes up a lot more. Now, if I turn this down, obviously it's not reducing the gain quite as much. Let's see, but if I turn it back up, there we can see it again. again. And you can see the response to it when I adjust the time. See, like when I turn it all the way down, see, it takes it some time for the gain reduction to close down there. But if I turn this up, much quicker, all the way up. And of course, it's good to have a visual aid with this stuff, because compressors can be one of those pedals where people turn it on and they say, is it even doing anything? Can I hear this? So it's nice to be able to have a visual to go along with this. And let's just do this too. I'm just not even going to touch the strings. You can hear, let's see, I'm going to turn up the gain for the output. So you can hear that level of noise. It's not a ton. I mean, for as much output as there is, like, yeah, I'm clipping the interface there just by hitting a note, but that's not a ton of gain that we're hearing. But listen, if I go back to the first ratio, definitely less, a little bit more, noticeably more, and then, yeah, it feels like it's a bit more there. So again, that's not bad. I can dial that out with the output very easily. You know, but there is a little bit of noise, and for those that have watched more than a couple videos of mine, you know that the goal of these is not always to show these in their most best pristine condition there. I want you to have a true representation of what it's going to sound like in your signal chain or something of that matter. So if things don't always sound good, I'm kind of trying to highlight that sort of thing. And in this case, I feel like, you know, this is me being very nitpicky showing this sort of thing here. And really, it just speaks to the quality of it, that I have the output this high and it's only putting out that much. And I feel like a very simple noise gate would solve that. Let's go ahead and check the symmetrical. So I think this one is actually based off of a different Darkglass compressor that came before this, is what it seems like from what I've been reading online. And let's start with the ratio all the way down. So again, this is with nothing. That's great. Just play very lightly. Play very heavy. Let's go up in the ratio. Playing very lightly. Playing more. Next one. That's still playing pretty lightly. And the heavy there. Like I'm able to play very light and still get a good sound, and play aggressively without having extreme peaks in the sound. When I'm looking at my signal here on the screen, even though I'm playing kind of different dynamics there, it's not really affecting my signal the way that I would expect it to. It's very solid. Let's go up to the last one there. Cool. And let's just go through those ratios again with the level of noise. So you hear barely any. Let's turn up the output so we can highlight it. Not much difference between those two. A bit more there, and a bit more there. And I'm blowing out my channel strip there. Let's get it back like that. And then finally we have this FET compressor over here, which I think is actually based off of like a popular rack unit. I can't remember the exact model of it, but I can picture it, and it's got like little push buttons on it. Push buttons with like 4 with different compression rates. So there's a trick that that this one has, the other modes do not. Let's start with just the simple one right here. So that's off, that's on. There we go. Let's go up. Next ratio. again, this one is kind of based off of a rack unit. Let's see. Let's go up to the next one here. We'll bring the blend down on this one a little bit. Fourth mode. Ooh. A lot more with that, and you can see the noise reduction is much higher on this one. Now, since this is based off of a rack compressor with buttons for the modes, or for the ratios there, I guess there's a trick people will do where they hit all 4 of the buttons at the same time, and that's what you can do on this one. You can hit this and get a 5th mode, which is all of them there. And notice when I hit that, the gain reduction almost all but went away, but there's a ton of output on it. So again, let's look at that. Ratio 1, ratio 2, ratio 3, ratio 4, and then all of them. Yeah, so yeah, three cool different modes there. So again, the FET is the rack mount, kind of based off of it. The bus is the SSL board compressor, and then the symmetrical is more based off of the prior Darkglass compressor pedal. So yeah, I think this is a pretty cool pedal. I really like it. When you're on this mode and you switch back to bus, it just goes to the 4th mode there. Let's do this before we wrap up here. Let's go to this, and I'm just going to go through the modes, see if there's any difference in the sound or in the noise that we're getting. So bus, symmetrical, FET. Turn up the ratio, bus, symmetrical, FET. Back here, let's go bus, symmetrical, FET, a little bit more on the FET, bus, symmetrical, FET. And you can hear just a little bit of difference between those, not very much at all. For a pedal with so many options to it, I feel like I'm not finding any bad sounds in it, which is great. You just got a lot of good options with just finding the sound that you really like in this. And I'm putting this compressor after the preamp currently, and before the amps and stuff. I guess I could take just a second and let's do this. Let's take the compressor. This is why I like using the HX Stomp, because I can easily reroute things. So if I move it before the preamp, like there is some difference. And then let's do this. Let's maybe take this and move it out here. So now it's after the amplifier. And now I'm going to move it after the cab. Ultimately, I think I would probably put it before the, or I guess after the preamp, or maybe before the preamp. I would probably want to mess around with that. I guess in my other chains, I usually put the compressor a little bit earlier there, but I'll, run a preamp into that. So yeah, it kind of depends. I feel like both options are viable though with this. I would still like to, mess around with this pedal. I might even do a guitar playthrough on this just to see if it handles, because everybody talks about this like it's a bass pedal, but I don't see the word bass on it specifically, and I don't see a guitar equivalent. And this probably be a cool pedal to use as a piece of stereo gear too, since the FET's kind of a rack thing. Can't do stereo with it, but you could probably run some tracks through it if that was your choosing there. Let's go ahead and call it for today. I want to do a little bit more playing around with this on the guitar, and might even uh, do something together with the Alpha and Omega before I have to return these to my friend. But yeah, thank you guys so much for watching this. I hope this was insightful, educational, entertaining for you, and let me know what you think. I will talk to you later.